Before getting into today's main video, there are a few more gift codes. So I'll pin everything in the comment section. You guys check out whether or not you have already redeemed those or not. And in terms of where to redeem, this under this section. Okay, so you go to the event hall, benefit events, gift code redeem, and you just type it here. All right. So today's video is going to be a talent priority guide for the Generation Miracle. So I'll be going through all 5 characters one by one, telling guys which one do you want to prioritize unlocking first in terms of talent, and I will also briefly talk about his awakening as well. Okay, so starting off with Murasakibara, in order for him to be minimally playable, you need 24 cards, and that's what will allow you to unlock the first tree or the first branch and also the second branch. So basically unlock his rebound and also unlock his block. Okay, at that point with those 24 cards he's completely playable. The others are nice but they are optional. Okay, now if you do have extra resources, what you should do next is go up to here for the alley oop. This just gives him a bit more variation in his offensive time. Vast majority of the time you're not expecting centers to score anyway, so that's kind of why this is just optional. You don't have to have it in order to play him, but yeah, if you do have resources you can put another 12 here for the alley oop. There's also this wider range alley oop, so basically this one he can basically jump from a bit further out. This to me is also nice, but 10 card is a bit expensive for this, so this is probably going towards the end of the priority. Okay, now after you have unlocked those 12, if you want to upgrade him any further, I'll go for his ultimate. His ultimate is actually very strong, but the only problem is his ultimate takes a long time to charge up, and sometimes if the match goes fast you won't even have a chance to actually use his ult. So that's kind of why I feel like sometimes if you actually dump off the resources here, but you don't get actually to use them, it's a bit of a pity. So I'll probably put the ultimate next on the list after you have unlocked alley oop. Okay, but it's definitely a strong skill. It's also quite expensive because you kind of want to unlock all the way to the end. Now, then the last priority is going to be this mobile fortress. This one to me is a bit of a user skill because basically it gives him extra interference. But if you actually take a look at the range, if you're able to interfere from here, you normally are able to block the enemy down because he has a very high block already. So this to me is very useless. This only kind of get useful once you get to his awakening 5, in which case he can actually have an ultra wide range. So that can potentially be useful, but it's only at awakening 5. So that's kind of why it's the lowest priority in terms of talent. Now on this note, in terms of all of the dupes and awakening, none of them is that necessary. I think the first 5 are all to do with his ult, and like I said, a lot of time you may not even be able to use his ult towards the end. So that's kind of why I feel like they can all be skipped. Number 6 is also quite strong. It's like a guaranteed win in tip-off, so that's also nice, but it's very expensive to go all the way to 6 awaken just for that, right? So that's kind of why I feel like all of them can be skipped if you want. Okay, now let's do talent priority for Aomine. So for the first branch, all you need to do is go up to this, which is allowing you to do a second drive in the opposite direction. Then the second branch, all you need is this drift shot. Okay, that's all you need for the second one. For the third one, you want to go up to here, which is basically your drive and dunk. And then for the fourth one, you want this initial block ambush one. Okay, so that's kind of the minimum requirement I would say for Aomine. So in total, it's gonna be 24 talent cards. Now, if you do have extra resources, the next one I'll probably recommend you guys to do would be, I think probably this one. No, sorry. The next one on the third branch. So basically, this gives you a faster dunk if you do want to use his ultimate here, and then if you can actually pull off this long combo and also willing to sacrifice 2 ult for this move, then this is also a very strong move. Okay, so you can potentially go further on the third branch, and then afterwards what you want to do is probably move on to his ult. The same with his ult is that the first few skills are all quite useless in my opinion, but the last one is really useful. So in some sense, you almost want to unlock all the way to the end in order for this to be worth it. Because this ultimate energy cap -5 is going to allow you to use his ult a lot more often. Okay, so you definitely do want this, but it's just going to be a bit annoying that you have to unlock all of the user's move beforehand before getting to him. And to be honest, that's probably all you need, even for like a good Aomine. The rest is more going down to personal preference. So for example, this blocking one is really strong, but in my opinion, it kind of shortens your reaction time because you need to actually press two buttons now rather than one button. So it's going to be more down to you whether or not you're comfortable doing this, because essentially you're trading off a shorter reaction time to a much wider block range. Okay, so potentially you can do this if you want to play it that way. But then for the rest of the first two branch, I think it's just useless. For example, for the first branch, like it has a really cool animation, but if you actually take a look at the animation, by the time you drive back, the enemy already stood up and they can block you. So this is a bit pointless in my opinion. And then same thing for the second one. Like it looks really cool, but the thing is, first of all, it's a long combo. Second thing is, whilst it's a second block timing for his shot, if people are already jumping to block your first shot, they will be interfering your second shot anyway because they're literally right in front of you. So once again, I don't think it's that useful. Okay, so that's going to be my recommendation for the talent. Then in terms of awakening, I will probably say the first two is going to be the main change game changer for him. The first one allow him to basically charge up his ult a lot quicker if you use the Formless with Zone skill. And then the second one basically give him a catch and drive, which is definitely very much needed so that you can basically create a lot more space by yourself and also just open up the paint a lot more for you to do different attacks. So I do feel like the first two awakening are quite nice. The rest I feel like is just optional. Number four, some people think this is really cool because it's behind the backboard. It definitely looks very cool. It's one of the best looking move in this game, but this can still be blocked. Okay, basically the block time is that when he turns purple, you just need to jump. I have seen this block multiple times on JP and Taiwan, so don't think this is guaranteed to go in. I higher rank this can be blocked, so it's up to you whether or not you want this. And then for the last one, it's a rebound, but unless you actually built him with rebound potential, otherwise I feel like this is also a bit useless. And let's do the talent priority for Kise. So for Kise's ones, a lot of his stuff are actually really nice. It's just going to be more of a priority of which ones you want to unlock first, okay? So the first priority is going to be on his second branch. You want to unlock this completely because this catch and drive, to be honest, is a lot of time the way you want to start the attack pattern for Kise. It allows him to catch and drive and then use his own drive. So essentially drive twice in one row, okay? So that's kind of why this is pretty much like essential. You have to unlock this completely. And then what I think is for the first branch, you want to go up to all the way here for drive and dunk. Okay, this one to me is a very strong skill, but the range where you can activate it is very tight. It's only the two small squares next to the baseline. So in actual matches, you may not actually have the chance to use it, but if you do use it, it's actually quite a nice skill. Okay, but that's kind of why I say this can be skipped for the time being. Third branch, this is stealing. This is literally the last one you want to unlock. Okay, then the fourth one is nice, but once again, it's quite expensive because you kind of the first one, ankle break, doesn't really make much difference. It's this one which basically gives you more variation in his drive, which is quite nice. But essentially, you're going to need 20 talent cards just to unlock one other variation for his drive. So it's a bit expensive in my opinion. So you can also skip this at the beginning, but eventually you do want to unlock this. And then for his ultimate, none of them is essential, but they're all very nice, especially the ones at the end, which once again makes it a bit annoying because if you actually want the good skills, you have to unlock all the way to the end and then it gets expensive, okay? But the main ones, the main reason why this is nice is, for example, you can pass when you're using ult, so that can basically give you another attack pattern with your team. And then there's also this, reducing your own block timing and also making it easier for you to block your opponents once you have copied their move, okay? All very good skills, just very expensive for you to unlock all the way to the end, okay? Once you have unlocked the last few nodes for branch 4 and 5, you can then go back to the stealing one and just unlock this. This is a lot like RNG focus, etc. So that's kind of why I put this at the lowest priority for Kise. Now, in terms of Awakening, I would say Awakening 2 is a massive upgrade for him. This makes him very difficult to be solo guarded. If you do not have this fadeaway, what's going to happen is when you do that pullback jumper, he jumps straight, and that can be blocked fairly easily if you are able to guess the direction he's driving. This makes it almost impossible to be blocked. He can still be interfered for sure. You can still defend him and interfere this shot, but to actually block this shot is going to be a lot harder. So I do recommend Awakening 2 for Kise. Then the rest is not really that important. Awakening 6 is quite nice because it gives you kind of like a catch and attack catch and attack move, so that can be nice, and you can also chain your copy skill onto this. But to be honest, Kise already can do a lot of different attack pattern due to all of his different drives and also his ultimate. So I feel like going all the way up to Awakening 6 just for one other variation is a bit expensive. Okay. Okay, now let's do the talent priority for Midorima. So for Midorima, skill 1, unlock this completely, okay? The first two skills essentially give you two different variation, block timing, and then the last skill is basically a variation for his catch and drive. So basically, you can actually catch and drive rather than catch and shoot. So this is also very much essential, okay? So skill 1 completely unlock it. Then the next thing you want to unlock is skill 4, completely unlock this. This is cheap as well, just 5. This is his blocking attack, okay? So unlock this completely. And then afterwards, you just slowly move on to your ultimate, okay? As much resources as you possible, as much resources you have, just unlock this as far as possible, okay? It's all very good. This is very expensive. You just see how long this is. But even going all the way to the end, for example, improving his range, reducing his energy cap, etc., that's all good, okay? So just go as far as here possible. Now, in terms of skill 2 and skill 3, personally, I don't think it's that much needed. Skill 2 and skill 3 doesn't even unlock any new skills. It's kind of just like a bigger range or better effects, etc. And then skill 3, this to me is a bit useless because I don't think the movement is that big. Like you can see he move all the way he wants. However, the actual position he end up with is only literally like one step away from his starting position. So to me, that's not really much of an offensive threat. Same thing here. You can move all the way you want. It's literally right back to where you were starting off with. Okay, but that's kind of why I feel like this is a bit of a useless skill in my opinion. Okay, so that's gonna be the talent priority. Now in terms of awakening, okay, skill resonance 1, not skill resonance, sorry, awakening number 1, absolutely essential, okay? Just make sure that his 3 ultimate don't actually share the same cooldown. This is going to be a massive game changer for him, okay? So you have to, I would say, like, if you want Midorima to be playable, I would recommend minimum Awakening 1. And remember, Awakening 1 is different to Dupe 1 because you can actually go to the Awakening shop to just buy 1 level rather than using Dupe, which is basically equivalent to 2 levels, okay? So that's kind of what I would say. Awakening 1 is going to be the bare minimum. And then afterwards, it's going to be up to you. But I can tell you, Awakening 6 is also quite big for him purely because of this extra speed. This actually makes him, for example, faster than Aomine at defending, okay, which is a bit funny, but essentially that's very, very useful stats buff, even if you don't care about the skills, okay? So this is more down to how much resource you have, but I would say bare minimum, try to get him to Awakening 1. Okay, now let's talk about talent priority for Akashi. So for the first branch, you want to go all the way up to here, collapse, okay? So basically you can ankle break the opponent. Zone Nail, personally, you need to have a fast reaction for this because it essentially you need to activate this when they have ankle broken, but they're not on the floor already. So depending on your own reaction speed, you may or may not want to unlock this, but I think for free to play, you can skip it for the time being. Then for the second one, you'll need the first one, okay? So this drive and shoot, okay? That's all you need. Then for the third branch, you want to go here, okay? So basically, you can now play make. So when you do the layup, you can also pass to your opponent, to your teammates, right? So that's what you want. For the fourth one, stealing one, this once again depends on your own skill level. A lot of Akashi is very much dependent on whether or not you're able to actually bump stop the enemy and then actually steal from them. So if you're very good at bump stopping people, then I think, yeah, you can actually unlock this. But otherwise, you can also skip this for the time being for free to plays. And then number 5, the ult. Unfortunately, this is another case where there are some really, really good ability locked at the very end. So you kind of need to go all the way to the end to actually unlock this, okay? So to recap, the priority will be for the first one, go up to collapse. Second one, just go to lightning shot. Third one, you want to go up to this play make passing. And then you want to go as far as you can all the way up to on the ultimate, and then after you have unlocked ultimate completely, then depending on how good you are with your reaction times, etc., you can either choose to unlock the stealing one, or you can, for example, do this kneeling one as well, okay? For this, personally, I don't think it's that necessary because it's kind of relying on the enemy to actually block you to trigger, so there's quite a bit of RNG here. And then for this one, I also feel like this is a bit of a user skill as well, okay? So those two you can potentially skip completely, but the others is just a lower priority, but you probably still want to eventually unlock them all. Okay, so now move on to the Awakening. Awakening number one, this to me is massive for him. Akashi is all about his ult, okay? Like you need his energy all the time. So this essentially is same as make some noise trait, so you definitely want this, okay? Extra energy. So this you definitely want. And then the next game breaking one to me is kind of on his Awakening 5. So this one is very RNG based because it's just like a passive trigger rate. But once again, that's like the core mechanics of Akashi. And if there's any way of make sure you can trigger them more frequently, that's going to be a massive improvement to his gameplay, okay? And then number 6 is another case where, first of all, the skill itself, to be honest, is not bad. You can actually shoot threes with this. So basically, you ankle break, collapse them, and then you drop back to shoot a three. And a lot of time it will actually go in. Now, the other nice thing for this is that it also increases run, and running is probably one of the most important stats here as well. So if you do have enough resources, I would even suggest you guys to go all the way up to Awakening 6, just max do him, because Awakening 5 and Awakening 6 are quite useful as well. But bare minimum, I would say at least Awakening 1, so that he can constantly have enough energy to use his ult. Okay, so that's going to be my thoughts on all of the Generation Miracle characters and also their talent priority. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section.